Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be continuing this war that the Farmers Union started. Starting over here with Grace, if I can find a car. I believe it's this one. No, hold up. Greece starts to liberate some of their old land here in the Greek Peninsula, but isn't quite enough to quite upset the Farmers Union, because the Farmers Union is deciding to pull troops from occupying the Greek lands and focus on taking out the Gulf country and the Red Team. What happened here? Let me fix this real quick. There we go. Bless me. Oh god, what happened to this? These new countries' opinion on this war isn't the greatest. The way we're actually helping fund the destruction of the Farmers Union, like, because they've grown too big, and that they need to be destroyed. The Red Team liberates the land and even starts to liberate the Farmers Union, not the Farmers Union, but the Gulf country starts losing or gaining land back, again a couple of major cities back, and the Farmers Union is losing its grip over here. Even in the desert, they're losing. And the Red Team continues its insurgence into the southeast here of the Farmers Union. The point where the Farmers Union is holding its invasion of the northern country here. And even withdrawing from Italy and southern Greece to defend their homeland. And they're even starting to pull troops out of northern Africa, which allows Greece to reclaim its colony entirely. But there's still a pretty good defensive right here, and that Greece is basically lining the border of. And they even claim more land here to have an easier time going around. And they also discover a little bit more here, but they don't go too far in yet. But they continue liberating most of the north. Basically do so successfully with the help of this pink country up here. But the Farmers Union isn't fully withdrawing. Now that the Farmers Union has more troops deployed over here, the front line slows down over here, the Gulf country. And they even decided to just pull troops out here and come up here to defend what's left of up here. Meanwhile, over here, the Vietnamese are doing good still. Capturing most of Myanmar here. And they're even seeing reclaiming some China. In China, besides kind of focus on their strength up here, on Korea, reclaim some of the north. Some of the north. They reclaim 4 major cities. Korea wasn't really expecting this so quickly. The point where they're still militarizing their country to go down here. And they also capture some major cities from the Central Chinese country. And even down here. Where it seems like China is just migrating. Like the Vietnamese are pushing them and their troops are just going north. And the Vietnamese landing on Borneo is split. And them Borneo and Vietnam decided to make a small peace deal. To the point where they will basically hold lines here, hold their fronts here, and still continue supplying each other's respective sides. But just not attacking each other. Singapore starts to liberate southern Myanmar here after a while, reclaiming a major city for Myanmar. Actually, reclaiming a couple. Myanmar makes a push back, reclaiming another major city on their own. Actually, another couple, and meet up down here. And now the siege of this city by Myanmar and Singapore has begun. And the same with the one up here. The Vietnamese are trying to hold these two cities, so they have some fort or some outposts in Myanmar. The blue team continues their rampage in the north. Because they remember destroying these lands. And they're starting to threaten the capital area, and by capturing the major city north of it. Myanmar has to pull troops from this front line to right about this encroaching front line. And the invading front line from the Central Chinese. Myanmar is basically destined to be terminated at this point, because they've already lost most of their population. Not much of their population is left. It is mainly Singapore that's helping keep itself under control. And these major cities are kept under Vietnamese control, and they are separated again. These major cities are back under Vietnamese control. And Vietnam is me focusing in on the destruction of Vietnam and clashing with the Blue Team and Central Vietnam. And actually, I believe, if I remember right, the Square Alliance and the Star Alliance made an agreement to not attack each other with the Blue Team. But China was the expansionist here. They violated that deal and kept attacking the Star Alliance to the point where the Square Alliance basically permitted the destruction of China. And the major city here is brought under Blue Team control, Bangladesh control, and farms are collectivized there. And central China is just pushing in to help claim and occupy land. As the Blue Team continues sweeping across major cities. Singapore is trying to keep its control under, get its peninsula under control. The point where they just occupy it themselves and bring it under their control. And they start continuing to attack Vietnam, keeping the city under siege. Myanmar essentially is done in terms of warring. Let me turn off the headlines real quick. In terms of occupation, these guys take this. That's Blue Team. Seizes the capital. Myanmar is essentially no more. They've been eliminated. And the Blue in the Farmers Union is still receiving massive pushbacks over here in Greece. The point where the Farmers Union just decides to expend more of its resources and taking more land back from Greece and just bum rushing them, essentially. And essentially just reclaiming this land very much quickly. Within like a couple weeks. But still holding the front down here. And it seems like everybody just decides to agree to peace because everybody's basically exhausted at this point. And everybody decides this war ain't worth it. There's really no clear victor. It's basically a back and forth war. And the peace deal essentially looks like this by for the Farmers Union. And they decided to just give up this land to the red team. Just be nice. Then we accumulate Egypt and Anatolia. And their capitals were demoted. And Greece did give up this land. The blue team did reaccumulate most of its land. And Singapore does take this land. Vietnam accumulates this land. And the Central Chinese country takes this land. And the rest of Myanmar remains as a Bangladesh occupation zone. You know, China is the only one that remains fighting. Oh yeah, down here. Vietnam does take this land. Reject some of Borneo. China is still fighting. But they are able to reclaim most of the Vietnamese occupied land. And they're able to retake this island. They are able to take a couple major cities. But China finally agrees to peace and takes the land that is occupied. China is happy. At least it was able to reclaim some of its old land back. Now, for the alliance. Well, not that. Myanmar is obviously kicked from the Diamond Alliance because they are essentially no more. The Star Alliance gets demoted of a couple members. And this country officially gains its independence. Now, some people are happy about this, and some are obviously not. That being Myanmar, because they basically lost the entire country. They lost like 80% of the country and are occupied by a foreign power. Obviously, nobody's gonna be happy when they're occupied by a foreign power. Just ask the Germans over here. They were occupied for a while. Okay, going back to exploration now. Britain is fully discovered. Same with Ireland. They even discovered the islands up here. And the discovery of Norway, or the exploration of Norway, continues to go swimmingly as the war was raging down here. And one country mainly leading the exploration up here is the Dutch team. Speaking of the Dutch team, they continue colonizing and settling this land that they're discovering. They even continue to settle the Nordic region. And I mean rapid colonization and settlementation of this land by the Dutch. I guess the Germanics at this point. The Germanic people. I guess this is basically the Germanic regions. Oh yeah, they sail over and settle in the northeast of Scotland. Basically settling North Scotland. But Brittany wasn't allowing this. So they basically colonized the rest of the main British Isle. And they also took Ireland and colonized it. The road map is looking a bit more filled in now. Quite surprisingly. Also, the Farmers Union real quick. There is a small rebellion happening in Cyprus. The Navy there is not too fond of the Farmers Union and their constant expansion in their terms. So they break out, they declare independence, and they take some of the southern Anatolia, going into the Middle East area with them. And the Farmers Union will fight this rebellion. But the rebellion gains the last traction, even gaining a couple major cities. Even gaining support and their partner of Crimea. Separatists join this rebellion. And there's some valuable bases encircled here. And the governors and the political offices in the capital of the Farmers Union are like, how are we collapsing? How do we keep getting rebellions at this point? We need to work on keeping our people happy. We need to work on our people. And they decided to sit down with the separatists of both countries in both countries. Now after that was taken to try and determine peace and the best course of action. And these talks happen over a few months. Well, constant sparring between the people, between the separatists and government happen. As it seems like there's a big support for this rebellion, and the people decide to come to appeasement of some kind, to a deal, essentially. Will grant you autonomy, sub-autonomy in these regions, just as long as we have access to our ports and our military bases and our economic sectors, and you can be free. Just as long as we keep what it was before. You guys can live in peace and do your own thing. We won't bother you if you were to this, do this. And they agree. And their capital is over here. Actually, make it bigger. Their capital is over here. And the Farmers Union is seen as good for doing this. But they do decide to just that's the same card. They decide to give them control of this area. Just as long as they can have their economic areas, military areas, that type of thing. Basically work as an ally. And we see our next new alliance pop up, being what alliance? Now the Heart Alliance. The Heart Alliance pops up. As many in economic alliance. The first economic Pacific alliance to exist in the series, just formed, being the Heart Alliance, and people are on board with this idea. Mainly, people like the idea of a common currency among these three nations, because these three nations are basically similar countries, so they should have, or basically the same countries, but they should have the same currency. This country up here joins the Heart Alliance, and they decide to leave the Square Alliance. yeah, they decided to join the Economic Alliance. And leave the Square Alliance. Hold up. Yeah, they leave the Square Alliance. And I'm fixing the account. There we go. Yeah, there's an economic alliance now. People have never thought any alliance should be both economical and military, but not just economic. But no, that's just economic. That's much better. There's trade deals for all three of these countries now. Basically, where everybody can use everybody's stuffing. Hold up. Ignore that. Anyways, that'll do it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, please do like and subscribe. And I'll see all of you in the next one. Peace.